Hello, this is a part 2 of my interview with Ron, one of my subscribers, who decided to do a 54-day water fast and posted under one of my study analyses on water fasting. Well, I saw the comment and, with some excited encouragement from some others, got Ron on the line and had the absolute pleasure of hearing his story. In this video, I want to go over Ron's experience with maintaining his weight loss as well as building on it to create an unbelievable physique. I know you may also be curious on how he broke his water fast, so we'll cover that as well. As with the last video, I'll also explain some of the physiology so that we can get a more full understanding of what happens to the body when we water fast over an extended period of time. So the first query was to ask him how he broke his fast. Did he do anything special? Here's Ron.
That's why I broke my fast earlier than what I expected, because I kind of did the math, and I'm like, around roughly 70 or around 70 to 80 days it would take me to get to 180 pounds from 260. But I was going overseas, and I already, by around day 20, day 30, I already had a plan on how I was going to break my fast. So I didn't want to really completely shock my body, because I've also read and stuff like that. um, so I did a bone broth. So I did a so I made I don't know if you know where oxtail is, but I took the bones of oxtail and I made a bone broth out of that. It was very fatty, and that's how I broke my fast. And then I ate that for like a couple days, and then I started adding vegetables, you know. Like I think day 3, I started adding vegetables. I added kimchi, sauerkraut, all that stuff. Then after the 7th day, I ate a sandwich. I ate a boiled egg sandwich with sauerkraut and avocado, just to see how my body would react, and it's fine.
Okay, so again, Ron really thought this out on a number of points. One, he knew how long it would take to reach his goal weight by simply doing the math. That's a smart, systematic approach, and it would have worked. But as you heard, he had commitments that stayed his ability to continue the fast. Two, he started off for the first few days by consuming bone broth. This is a great way to go about it because, as we know from our study analyses up to this point, that our body becomes extremely insulin resistant during an extended water fast. So, consuming food that is heavily fat based allows the continuity of a fat based metabolism in the cells. So the cells have been using fat metabolism supplied by the fat released by the fat cells over the last 50 plus days. So introducing a source from nutrition allows the intestinal cells to adapt to the reintroduction of food as well as reduces the release of fat from the fat cells slightly. This preserves the fat metabolism in the cells since the cells can't tell the difference between the fat from nutrition and fat from the fat tissue, but avoids intestinal discomfort from a shrunken intestinal tract. This is great thinking. Finally, he introduced light carbohydrates like vegetables. This is great as well because they tend to digest slowly, raising blood sugar more slowly than drinking juice or eating simple sugars. And this allows the cells of the body to begin reintroducing insulin sensitivity and metabolic adaptation back to a more carbohydrate-centric metabolism. He also tapered it over 7 days, which is also an excellent idea. Perfect execution. But once people finish their fasts, many will tend to start regaining all of the weight that they put on. So, how did Ron avoid that? And actually, how did he improve on his results?
So I lost more weight after I broke my fast. So when I broke my fast and I introduced the food, I saw that I weighed 199 pounds. And that was after about a week and a half of eating the bone broth, the starchy vegetables, the sandwich, and all that stuff. So I saw that my weight jumped up to 199, and then I continued going down to roughly the lowest I got is 170 or so pounds. I lost, I want to say, so if it was 199, once I broke, I probably lost an additional 20 or so, like 20 or so pounds after I broke my fast. And that was just doing OMAD. And
Okay.
I've maintained 170 to 180 ever since I broke my fast in 2018. I've maintained this roughly around this weight. I do OMAD now, and I don't really count calories now. I can roughly tell how much I'm eating just based on how full I am. I'm able to just see, and I know how much I'm eating, especially because I know how my body feels after so amount of calories. So, and OMAD for me, OMAD is the best way, just because I have a really busy schedule, and it's just worrying about food just once a day is awesome. And so I started essentially almost carnivorish. I was just eating probably after 3 weeks or so, I was just simply eating just meat. And I did that probably for about a year or so, like just eating meat. I would eat some carbs, but not very often. But as I started progressing more on my weights, especially like for squats, deadlifts, bench press, and then also because I do heavy weights and I run a lot. And the more I started doing that is like the more I started seeing how important carbohydrates and fats are in a energy and recovery sense. My diet has always been relatively high fat after I broke it, but I've introduced a lot more carbs, specifically honey and fruits, especially towards this year that I've taken really long distance running very seriously. I run probably right now probably between 30 to like 40 miles a week right now is my training cycle right now. Yeah, I've introduced definitely a lot more carbs because I just need it, especially on the days that I have to do weights, and then due to time constraints, I do weights, and then the next work, like literally a couple minutes after I do my weights, which is like about when I do weights is about an hour or so, I have to go in for like a 4 mile run. So definitely on those days, I just seen the importance because I can feel it of carbs and fats.
Ron mentions a few things. One, that he's adopted a nutrition style of OMAD, or one meal a day. He doesn't feel the need to count calories because this method is enough to keep things in check. Two, he mentions that he's been lifting weights as well as running. Both of these methods have allowed him to lose an additional 9 kilograms, or 20 pounds or so, from the end of his fast. So not only did he manage to maintain his weight, but he lost weight and eventually built muscle. Clearly, he's doing quite well for himself using simple but effective techniques. OMAD is a great way to control your consumption because eating throughout the day can lead to unconscious overeating from grazing, so we've almost all done it. OMAD eliminates that issue by packing one large meal into the day only. So lifting weights lends itself well to building muscle and increasing energy expenditure, and running also contributes to energy expenditure. All three combined lead to a powerful combination over years for the growth of a strong, functional body. He really did a fantastic job here too. Ron clearly did things exceptionally well, but people often complain about the safety of water fasting, especially for such a long time. So I wanted to ask Ron his experience. Did he suffer any consequences, some negative consequences from water fasting? The answer is yes, but in some really intriguing ways. In the next video, we'll get into them, so I'll see you there.